Eudaimonia. Imagine standing before an ancient Greek temple at dawn, watching the first light pour through marble columns like liquid gold. The air is crisp and still, carrying the faint scent of olive trees and the distant murmur of a marketplace beginning to stir. You've traveled here seeking something, perhaps happiness, perhaps meaning, perhaps both. But as you step closer to the weathered stone, you realize that what you're looking for might not be what you thought it was. How is it that the deepest fulfillment often comes not from getting what we want, but from understanding what we truly need? The ancient Greeks had a word for this elusive state, eudaimonia, often translated as happiness. It means something far more profound, a life lived in accordance with one's deepest nature, a flourishing that emerges not from pleasure or achievement, but from the cultivation of virtue itself. Here lies the paradox that has puzzled philosophers for millennia. The more directly we chase happiness, the more it seems to slip away. Yet when we focus on living well rather than feeling good, contentment arrives like an unexpected gift. On one hand, everything in our modern world suggests that happiness should be our primary goal. We're surrounded by messages promising that the right purchase, the perfect relationship, or the ideal career will finally make us happy. We measure our lives by moments of joy, by the absence of pain, by the accumulation of pleasurable experiences. This makes perfect sense. Who wouldn't want to feel good, to smile more, to wake up each day with lightness in their heart? But on the other hand, those who seem most content, most deeply at peace, often speak of something entirely different. They talk about purpose rather than pleasure, about character rather than comfort, about what they give rather than what they receive. You notice this in the grandmother who radiates warmth despite her arthritis, in the teacher who finds meaning in small breakthroughs despite modest pay, in the friend who somehow remains steady through life's inevitable storms. The Stoics understood this paradox intimately. They realized that eudaimonia isn't an emotion to be captured, but a way of being to be cultivated. You begin to see what they meant when you consider your own moments of deepest satisfaction. Perhaps it was when you helped a stranger in need, when you persevered through a difficult challenge, when you chose honesty despite the cost. These moments didn't necessarily feel pleasant in the conventional sense, yet they left you with something richer than mere happiness, a sense of alignment, of having acted in harmony with your truest self. The ancient philosophers spoke of four cardinal virtues that form the foundation of eudaimonia: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Each one reveals another layer of the paradox. Wisdom isn't about knowing everything, but about recognizing how little you truly know. Courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting rightly despite it. Justice isn't about getting what you deserve, but about giving what is owed. Temperance isn't about denying yourself everything, but about understanding what you actually need. You start to wonder whether our confusion about happiness stems from a fundamental misunderstanding about time itself. The happiness we usually chase exists in moments: the thrill of success, the warmth of embrace, the satisfaction of desire fulfilled. But eudaimonia unfolds across the span of a lifetime, like a tree that grows slowly, adding rings of wisdom and character with each passing year. You cannot judge a life by its individual days any more than you can judge a symphony by its individual notes. Consider how this plays out in your own daily choices. When you choose to exercise despite feeling tired, you're trading momentary comfort for long-term flourishing. When you listen deeply to a friend in distress, you're prioritizing their well-being over your own immediate preferences. When you persist at learning something difficult, you're valuing growth over ease. None of these choices necessarily feel good in the moment, yet each one contributes to that deeper sense of living well. The paradox deepens when you realize that eudaimonia often emerges precisely when we stop focusing on ourselves entirely. The mother caring for her child, the artist lost in creation, the scientist pursuing truth. In these moments of complete absorption in something greater than personal pleasure, an unexpected contentment arises. It's as if happiness is like sleep. The more desperately you chase it, the more elusive it becomes. But when you're engaged in meaningful activity, it arrives naturally as a byproduct. This helps explain why so many of life's peak experiences involve some form of challenge or sacrifice. The marathon runner finds joy not in the comfort zone, but in pushing beyond it. The musician discovers transcendence not in easy songs, but in mastering difficult pieces. The parent finds love not in convenience, but in the countless small acts of service that parenthood demands. You begin to see that eudaimonia isn't about avoiding difficulty, but about finding meaning within it. The Stoics taught that we suffer not because bad things happen to us, but because we resist what is beyond our control while neglecting what is within our power. You cannot control whether you get the job, but you can control how thoroughly you prepare. You cannot control whether others appreciate your efforts, but you can control the sincerity with which you make them. You cannot control the weather during your vacation, but you can control your response to rain. This shift in focus reveals another layer of the paradox. The more you accept what you cannot change, the more power you discover in what you can. It's like learning to sail. Fighting the wind leaves you exhausted and stuck, but working with it, adjusting your sails to catch whatever breeze is available, allows you to move gracefully toward your destination regardless of the weather. As you reflect on these ancient insights, you begin to notice how they illuminate your present moment. Right now, listening to these words, allowing your mind to slow and settle, you're practicing a form of eudaimonia. You're choosing presence over distraction, contemplation over consumption, being overdoing. There's no goal to achieve here, no problem to solve, only the simple act of engaging thoughtfully with timeless questions about what it means to live well. The beautiful irony is that in seeking to understand eudaimonia, you begin to embody it. The very act of asking how to live well is itself an expression of living well. It's not about reaching some final destination of perfect virtue or permanent contentment. It's about engaging with each day, each choice, each moment as an opportunity to practice being fully human. As your mind settles into sleep, you carry with you this gentle paradox. The happiness worth seeking is the kind that doesn't need to be sought, the fulfillment that comes not from getting what you want, but from wanting what contributes to the good. It's not about solving the mystery of eudaimonia, but about living daily within its quiet wisdom, letting each breath, each choice, each dream be a small expression of flourishing.